The two-day annual summit of the East African International Arbitrators Association begins today in Abuja, the first time that the conference is being held in Nigeria. The 2025 summit comes against the backdrop of geopolitics, tariffs, and the scramble for Africa's critical minerals. Agnes Gitau, the managing partner at GBS Africa and a member of the EAIC, spoke with me here about an hour ago on the Arbitrators Forum and the choice of focus for this year. Take a listen.
We're grateful, as you said, to be welcomed by Nigeria's legal professions, not only in Nigeria but across African legal fraternity, to host the annual East Africa International Arbitration Conference in Abuja. Again, the theme for this year is arbitrating in times of conflict. How do we bring parties together in this uncertain time? And what you ask me, why? Look at the times we're living in. Our world is a world of worries, constantly changing geopolitical movements, tariffs, climate policies, trade policies. It's suddenly uncertain times, but the profession of arbitration must continue. And hopefully, when it comes to commerce and industry, chart the way forward to help businesses navigate the current landscape that we find ourselves in.
So if we take it out to mineral resources, the Russians are here in Africa, the Chinese are here, the Europeans are here from Northern Hemisphere, United States. Everybody wants a share of a part of Africa's resource, whether it is oil, gas, rare earth, lithium, whatever it is, uranium. So do you think this brings the issue of arbitration to the forefront for those of you in that profession?
Absolutely. Like many other industries, the mining sectors for the African continent has mostly been used for extraction. We've never had real capacity to build our refining or industries to refine our minerals in the continent. And as the world rushes towards the green transition agenda, Africa's critical minerals for the critical energy transitions have become overly valuable for the world, right? This agenda is not set by us, the African, it's set by the beggable West. You know, industrial policies, say, made by Washington or in Brussels or in London, or their trade policies are determining how mineral resources are used. So it's again, we keep saying, Boston, it feels like a new scrabble for the continent. Exactly. And we know mining resources, mining disputes always arise. I mean, you've had cases, Barrick Gold of this world.
Botswana, the BS.
Exactly, and so many mining disputes that are Africa-related, however, never had in the continent. Most of these cases will either be out of Paris or out of London or New York. What we're trying to do at the East Africa International Arbitration Conference is to build capacity, show that Africans, Nigerian lawyers can play at equal, but particularly when it comes to Africa-related cases.
Issues. And you think this is a time, things I've heard today, why African leaders need to have a voice and put their feet ground, try to balance resources that's underneath the soil in Africa with the interest of international corporations, investors, and others in ensuring that mineral resources, critical minerals work for Africa?
Boston, you know, you asked earlier why critical minerals and why now, right? And I tried to answer in so many words, but when it comes to African leadership, how many times have the citizens called on Africans to work as a collective? 70% of cobalt, which is key for EV sector, is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Does DRC set the agenda when it comes to critical mineral policy? No. 30% of minerals that are going to be used in this transition are all in the African continent. But we're never at the never at the table where we can be part and parcel of setting the agenda. We're rule takers. And so for the African leadership, it is time to move away from the rhetoric and start actually using our competitive advantage, which is rich minerals, to try and bargain for better contracts, better engagement, also to try and push for investments and capital that is valuable for us, you know. And an example B is the EU climate policy. It's called carbon adjustment mechanism, right?
Yes.
CBAM, right?
Yes.
Which is, in my view, punitive because
for Africa.
Exactly.
Yes.
So as much as we're trying, African governments, when you speak to the politicians, will tell you, we're trying to build manufacturing capacity in the African continent. We're trying to build value in the supply chains. But how can we, if our steel or any other finished goods we try to look for market in the EU is exposed to this tariffs?
Yes, this tax that the Europeans want to put on what comes out of here.
Exactly.
So we're not getting a fair treatment. So again, when you sit down with the Nigerian, your colleagues from East Africa and the rest of them, what are some of the conversations in the coffee room today? Is the start of the two-day conference. So what's the mood in the conference among members coming to Nigeria and looking at the global situation right now? What more needs to be done? What kind of knowledge, skills? For example, if cases dispute are arising from China, how do we deal with it?
Capacity is one thing, and that's why these conversations are important.
Capacity building.
Absolutely. And so making sure that we give we help, we support in skills transfer, particularly in arbitration. And also in the coffee rooms, the discussion also around that arbitration is critical to giving investors the confidence that when there is a dispute, it can be resolved efficiently, but also amicably, right? And so therefore the importance, particularly around critical minerals and critical times, the importance of building Africa's arbitration expertise so that when mining disputes arise, so when climate-related disputes arise, that we'll see our likes of Africa, champions like Chief Bayo was just speaking a while ago, or Doyen, who is also an expert in arbitration. We want to see African leadership in Africa-related arbitration. And so the conversation now, what can we do? What do we need to do more? What skills? Where are the gaps? And how can we intervene? And more importantly, how can we build the capacity of arbitral centers in the region? So the likes of Kigali International Arbitration Center, Nairobi Center, the LASIA here in Nigeria, and the Chartered Institute of Arbitration in Nigeria. How can we build their skill? And also, how can we get more younger lawyers, younger people interested in the practice?